Fruit Festival, last week of July. What I'm going to do for this one is I'm just gonna do kind of a quick overview of the whole week, just kind of as far as where things are, and then I'm gonna go back and do the in-depth, step-by-step of the hot air balloon, because that's kind of the main thing and it's all spread out throughout the week. But I want you to just kind of get a sense of the week first, and then I'll come back and do our step-by-step hot air balloon tutorial. All right, so Fruit Festival week, as I mentioned in summer planning, this is Petipom's birthday because his plums are ripe, and the actual plum tree that he lives in our backyard with his little door, the plums are ripe at the end of July. It's also my birthday, so my birthday is, Petipom's birthday is inspired by my birthday. Nice midsummer birthday. So it's Petipom's birthday, it's a lot of fun, and we have a party and a hot air balloon, and it's really, I probably say it's a lot of fun way too many times in these live streams. Okay, so birthday balloon. It's Petipom's birthday. Eliza comes in and they're super excited. Fruit is finally ripe. Petipom's is so excited. He's the happiest gnome in the garden. He jumps on Eliza's back and is flying around the garden, and then comes Fruit on the Vine, our little fruit conga line. It's so fun, and he's like, come on, fairies are ripening the fruit, and it's a party time. It's his birthday, fruit is ripe, woohoo! And it's just, if you know that song, it's really fun. So then they come and they're doing a big garden party under the willow tree at Puddle Bloom's house. I just think it'd be so fun to recreate this kind of summer garden party outside when the fruit is ripe. Fun. Then they sing happy birthday, and then it's time for his wish. And this is really sweet because he says that every year he has wished that he could fly. But now, because of his dear friend Eliza, that wish has already come true. He gets to ride on her back and see the garden from the sky all the time. But today for his birthday, he wishes that all of his friends could join him up there in the sky, because of course Rudabug and Pumpkin and Morrison do not get that view. And so that was his birthday wish, is that his friends could see the garden from the sky and join him up there. So it's a really, really sweet little wish. And then Amethyst, she's kind of like our engineer, our thinker. She had noticed that if you put something over Sister Flame, it'll rise. And so they have an idea to make a birthday balloon, a big hot air balloon, and then they say, let's do it. So this story is a little longer. It's a 2-page, so just kind of as you prep for your storytelling, it is a bit longer. Then they get to work creating a hot air balloon, and then we get the song Dreams Come True. This song is so inspiring, and it's about how if you think outside the box, you can really make anything happen. And that is what they're doing. Amethyst is thinking outside the box. They're all thinking outside the box. How could we get everyone into the sky for Petipom's birthday? And so they begin creating and teamwork, and it's this incredible feat, and they create this big birthday balloon. So it's a really cool scene of them all working together. And there's a moment where Eliza says, just look at what your friends are doing for you, and it's really, really sweet. Then they all get in the basket and they go up into the sky, and they get to see, they get to overlook the garden, and it's a really special moment for all of them. And then it's evening, it's really sweet, and then comes Fairyworks. So then Sister Flame and the fairies work together to shoot their little fairy dust into the sky to make their version of fireworks, Fairyworks. So they use their little fairy pixie dust, and Sister Flame tosses her little flame thing. So then they get a fireworks show at the end of this story. So if you do want to incorporate some of this fireworks themes for 4th of July or anything else in July, we did want fireworks somewhere in July because July is just fireworks month. So we do have that here at the end. And so then all of the gnomes and friends get to see this fireworks show, Fairyworks, in the sky. And then also really sweet, especially as we just came off of picnic week, Morrison does get to see these little sparkles. So even though he's blind, a lot of people who are legally blind still can see a little bit of especially light sensitivity. So he he sees these fireworks. And so it's a really special moment that he even gets to be included up there in the sky along the dark night and seeing these flashes of light, and he gets to enjoy it with them. And it's just a really, really sweet moment. And they're all together watching this fairy work show in the night, looking over the garden. And then we have the song Sparkling Lights. And that's that fireworks song, a very sentimental song of just them all being together, enjoying this memory, as they all just worked so hard to make Petipom's wish come true, and they did. And it's really beautiful. Here, cue the tears again. Sorry, Janine. It's really sweet. So I know the song had you bawling when you first heard it. Catherine also had to do so many takes of this song because she was also crying. She was just sobbing through the song because especially just let wonder fill your eyes. And just as parents, of course, so much of this is instilling the sense of wonder in our children and having these sweet moments next to them and enjoying these things together. And so this is definitely one that will get you. Everyone's crying again. I'm sorry, guys. But it's really sweet. So yeah, it's a really, really sweet song. It's another tearjerker and very relatable as we especially this year, if we all go watch fireworks with our kids, we're all just gonna be sobbing thinking of this song. So that's how that story ends. Petipom gets his birthday wish and they all watch Fairyworks over the garden in the night. Very, very lovely. All right, let's head to some activities and then we will get to that tutorial there. Living Arts Day 1, morning activity, break out the bubbles again, enjoy a morning of bubbles that you should hopefully still have on hand. I wanted to make sure we did bubbles at least once a month through the summer. So that's your morning activity. And then begins our multi-step, multi-day process of our hot air balloon. So I'm gonna bring this over and you'll see, this is slightly deconstructed because I'm gonna show you a few, I'm gonna put it together again. So this is our hot air balloon that we are making for Petipom's birthday, and it's a kite paper hot air balloon. And so I'll show you in a little bit, step-by-step details. So for our first part of this is the kite paper mache. So we're using kite paper to paper mache around a balloon. This was absolutely one of those moments of, hey honey, what if we made a kite paper hot air balloon? And one of these ideas I had in my head of what if we used colored paper to do the paper mache, and it worked, because usually with paper mache you're using newspaper strips and then after it's dry you're painting it. But with this you're actually using kite paper, which is that translucent colored paper, and it maintains its color. And at night when you have a little light in here, it does still glow because it has that translucency. So it's really, really a cool thing that you can use as a night light. And it actually turned out really well. So day one, your main lesson will be the paper mache portion of this project. And then the next, then I have instructions for the paper mache. You'll start with, of course, cutting or ripping the paper mache pieces of the kite paper, and then doing the paper mache. The next day for your morning activity is assembling the balloon. So I'll go through all those details and give you all of what you know. We have all of these steps here, but of course these involved things sometimes are tricky to follow with just pictures. It's so hard to how do I get this picture so you really know what's going on. So I will go through one by one these steps in just a little bit, but just so you're kind of mentally, day one main lesson, you're doing the paper mache portion. Day two morning activity, you're actually putting it together, all right? Then we'll move on to baking day. We're gonna make a plum cake for Petipom's birthday. Of course, if you can get a hold of golden plums, even better, but of course I know these are a little harder to find. So we had a bountiful harvest last year of our plum tree, so we got to use our Petipom's actual glowing, just glowing golden plums. They're so beautiful. But any plum will work. Honestly, any stone fruit will work. It will work. If you have peaches or nectarines, anything, you can kind of follow that and just make a beautiful plum cake or whatever you have. It's really beautiful. And it's really yummy. It also is really lovely if you want to top it with a little powdered sugar on top at the end, just to add a little sweetness, because sometimes the plums can be slightly tart, but it's a really lovely, it's a not too sweet of a cake because of that plum flavor. It's really lovely. And it's not too thick of a cake either, you'll see in this little slice. So it's kind of a nice, almost I don't know, it's a unique cake and I adore it. It's lovely. For day three, we're making fruit skewers. These are kind of like your own DIY edible arrangements almost. And it's also great fine motor skills for your little ones to kind of put little things on their skewers, and great pattern building opportunities, right? So get a few berries, get some things, and have them actually think about what patterns of fruits they might want on their little skewers. If you want to do shapes, you can slice pineapple and then use cookie cutters to make shapes. You can, I think, do the same thing with watermelon. Anything you could kind of slice into a disc, you can punch out little shapes if you would like, and then talk about pattern building. Use those fine motor skills to build these sweet little fruit skewers. They're really cute. And then day 3 is just a fruit festival. Enjoy the party. Have the cake, have the skewers, maybe make some lemonade again from your picnic recipe, and enjoy a summer party inspired by Petit Palm's birthday. And have a summer garden party. Enjoy. Yes, I mean, someone said there's a very similar Polish family recipe. I call it breakfast cake, and you leave off the powdered sugar. Yes, so powdered sugar is definitely optional, but yeah, it's a really sweet, definitely not too sweet, so it could be a little breakfast cake. And then is the plums behind Petit Palm in his chalk art? Oh yes, in Petit Palms in this. Here, these are his golden plums in his little golden plum tree. So yes, they're not lemons, they're golden plums.